Guilty on all counts. The man who was once one of the most popular singers in the world today convicted in federal court of racketeering and sex trafficking. In this high-profile trial, prosecutors called 45 witnesses, including 11 accusers. And today, around 3 o'clock this afternoon, a jury said that what happened to these women, girls and boys, most of them black, was criminal. And now there'll be no more hit songs, rock star lifestyle, and endless fans for the man who sang "I Believe I Can Fly." R. Kelly now faces up to life in prison. This is Making the Case. I'm Laverne McGee, filling in for Yodi. We have a team of legal experts ready to help us break down today's verdict. But first, we want to start on the ground in Brooklyn. BNC's Dre Clark has been there covering this trial from the beginning. Good to see you, Dre. This was the jury's first full day to deliberate after getting this case on Friday. Then we got word from you, actually, you were on air, that a guilty verdict had been reached. So tell us how the day unfolded.
Yeah, Laverne, the jury in totality deliberated for close to 9 hours since getting the case last Friday. You know, we were all inside the court room this morning at 9:30 when deliberations resumed. Early on, the jury had indicated they had a few questions, and the judge worked it out. They answered the questions, and we went to lunch. And there was last week, we had petitioned to hear some of the audio clips that the jurors heard during the trial. The prosecution said the audio clips you could hear R. Kelly berating and physically abusing some of his victims, and we wanted to hear it. And so we petitioned the court, and they finally released the audio today. As we were in the media room listening to the audio, and it was sexually graphic. It was very disturbing. One of the court officers casually walked in and said, "We have a verdict." And we all looked over and said, "What did you just say?" And he said, "We have a verdict." And so we rushed upstairs to the 6th floor, and it was shortly before 3 o'clock that we heard the verdict that R. Kelly had been found guilty on all counts. A jury of 7 men, 5 women, deliberating again close to 9 hours, reaching a consensus that they believe Robert Sylvester Kelly is guilty on all counts. Laverne?
Dre, I know you weren't able to be directly in the courtroom as the verdict was read, but let's face it, he's been getting away with these accusations for years and years and years. What was his reaction in court today?
He was stoic. He just looked straight ahead. He didn't flinch. He just looked straight ahead. And that really has been his posture throughout this trial. Although last week, during the closing arguments, as one of the prosecutors was giving her closing argument, R. Kelly, for a moment there, became animated. He vigorously shook his head from right to left and left to right to indicate that he was in total disagreement with what he was saying. He also dropped his head. He clasped his hands. That was the most animated we saw him throughout the trial was last week. But today, when he heard the announcement that he was going to be found guilty on all counts, he was very stoic. I think it's beginning to sink in, as I said earlier today, that R. Kelly, the entertainer, the singer, is no more. He is now Robert Sylvester Kelly, a convicted felon who will likely spend the rest of his life in prison.
After all this time. All right. Thank you so much. BNC's Dre Clark live for us in Brooklyn. Dre, we've got more to discuss, so I'm going to check back with you later in the hour. But right now, I want to bring in our legal experts. Tony Thedford is a criminal defense and civil rights attorney in Chicago, and Tinnetta Thompson is a trial attorney for the city of San Francisco's Department of Police Accountability. Good to have you both here. First, I want to get your reactions. Tinnetta, I'll start with you.
Yes, today's verdict was absolutely tremendously impactful for these victims of sexual assault. What it did was show that these victims, even though they had to relive this horrendous act that spanned decades, that they did not relive this horrendous act in vain, and that it was for something, and that justice has finally been served for these young, mainly Black women and men who were victims of R. Kelly's sexual predatory crimes.
Tony, are you surprised he was convicted?
No, not at all. In fact, the word I would use is expected. When I was on before, we talked about the likelihood that he would be convicted based on the massive amount of evidence that the government presented in this case, as well as more than 50 witnesses. When you counter that with the response by the defense, which was weak at best and obviously ineffective, this was expected. So I'm not surprised at all.
And I really want to go over what happened there, because Kelly was convicted of 1 count of racketeering and 8 counts of violating the Mann Act, which prohibits sex trafficking across state lines. I think this is still confusing to some people. I want you to briefly explain to our viewers what racketeering is and why Kelly was charged with racketeering rather than rape or sexual assault, because that's really what people have been hearing about all these years. Is he's been accused of molesting young girls, sexual harassment, the list goes on. Tinnetta, can you break that down for us?
Yes, what the racketeering does, it allows prosecutors to bring, or federal prosecutors to bring in acts that may have reached the statute of limits, let's say in rape or sexual abuse that you may have in the federal statute. And it allows them to bring these crimes and use this evidence, all, like multiple witnesses as they have, just like if you see, you know, like with the mob or anything like that, you've seen that what racketeering is. And what he did was he used that, he transported these victims to commit these sexual acts, and that in turn was the quote unquote criminal enterprise. And what the prosecutors were able to do was able to say, because you've crossed these state lines, you're using minors, you're using these victims to cross state lines in order to further your deviant acts, we therefore can charge you with racketeering, which otherwise may have ran its course or statute of limitations.
So that's what it took to get R. Kelly. Well, Tony, you never represented Kelly, but you did work closely with attorneys in Chicago who did. What are your thoughts on this conviction? What do you think the legal minds in Chicago are saying about this tonight?
Well, I think initially it's a great sense of finality, at least on some level, that he was found guilty and convicted. Again, these allegations have been in the ether now for decades. The case was tried here back in 2009, where he was acquitted, but many of the same sort of allegations were raised in that case even back in 2009. I think what's interesting for us here in Chicago is that he still faces federal charges here in Chicago. In fact, was held in custody here and has been held in custody here for Chicago for since he was charged here. He was only taken to New York to stand trial on those charges that where we just got the guilty verdict. So I think the center of attention will be back here in Chicago regarding R. Kelly and how the government proceeds in that case. And then there's the Minnesota matter, which is the state court matter, which is still pending. So although this brings finality to this case, prior to sentencing, of course, he still has many mountains to climb.
Yeah, he sure does. So this trial, though, took more than a month, and the jury came back after just about 9 hours of deliberations between Friday and today, Monday. So what does that say about both the prosecution's case and Kelly's defense? Tinnetta, I'll start with you.
Yes, as I stated last week, what it says about the prosecution is they absolutely met their burdens and fulfilled every element of the crime that they presented to the jury. They took all of that evidence, 45 witnesses, 5.5 weeks of testimony. And what they did was they told the jury exactly how the evidence applied, how to apply it, and here are the jury instructions and how to apply it. And what that did was tell the jury, look, this was not as complicated as we saw. The prosecution basically laid it all out for us, and all we had to do was basically certify, go through the evidence, make sure that it fit and applied, and that each and every element of the crime was satisfied for them to return the guilty verdicts for racketeering.
So, Tony,
and what it said,
I want to hear your thoughts about the I'm sorry, go ahead, finish. Tinnetta, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's fine. Tony can answer that part.
Sure, absolutely. And Tony, I was just going to ask you, I was wondering about the actual prosecutor's closing arguments, because it took so long and people were wondering about that. But please go ahead and weigh in.
In terms of the length of time, the prosecutors have the burden of proof. And so they typically err on the side of giving us more than we need, particularly federal prosecutors. And so it was no surprise to me that they would take this amount of time to close the case. But they did have 50 witnesses and 5 weeks of evidence as well. So they were not dealing with, Tinnetta just indicated that they did a good job of simplifying it for the jury with jury instructions in their argument. But the case itself was complex. And when you're essentially taking, defunct charges or charges that run their statute of limitations and creatively molding them under the RICO statute, which is essentially a statute first conceived to combat organized crime. I think that it was a Herculean job. And so when it was their time to argue, it did not surprise me that they would take every second that they could to make their point.
Tonight, I just want to take a moment to talk about what it took to get to this point. The women who came forward and talked about these charges and what happened to them. Tell us what it says about the legal system and what it took to get to this point, and all these women who came forward and had to sit there in court and talk about these awful things that happened to them.
Yes, and as a prosecutor and working with vulnerable victims in the past, what it takes is for you to reassure your survivors, your victims, that they are not alone in this. And I think that's what the prosecution tried to instill not only to the survivors, but as well as the jury as well, that you are not alone in this, that even though it happened a long time ago, that your voice matters, your voice will be heard, and your voice will contribute to the justice that needed to be served in prosecuting and convicting R. Kelly in this matter. That what he done for you would not go unpunished because of his status, because of his fame, because of his notoriety, and that he had already gotten off in 2009 in Chicago. That was not going to be swept under the rug, what you went through, and that what your instance, that what you went through with him actually mattered, that your voice counted, and that you would be heard in court, and that it would not be in vain, and that you as a survivor do have a voice, and that you should not fear coming to court, testifying, and even reliving it, because not only will it help you in the long run to get over this trauma, but you are helping other young women who may feel that they cannot go out there, or young men who cannot speak or are afraid of because of celebrity status, that this is your time to make your voice heard, and that it is not going to be, it's nothing to be ashamed of, that this not only happened to you, but dozens of other victims, and that this, again, would not go in vain. And so I applaud the victims and the survivors in this matter, because it's very hard to relive such a traumatic instance in your life, and to do that before the public eye and before a jury who does not know you, and to go through these sexual exploits that R. Kelly took you on is absolutely courageous. And these victims and survivors need to be applauded. And it goes and it shows that across the nation that, you know, your voice will matter, especially our young Black men and women, that we don't have to be scared of the system, that it can work for you.
All right, we have so much more to talk about. I want to take a pause here, but thank you, criminal defense attorney Tony Thedford and trial attorney Tinnetta Thompson. We're going to hear more from you later on.